if removed.
So I say, well, tell how you feel, so do not park on grass. Not really, you gotta mow that, and then you gotta sign it.
Can you see Cody?
Yeah.
I mean, you come this way a little bit. When you get ready to speak, you'll just kind of lean forward a little bit, and what I'll do is just allow, I guess you can step in if you need to. We're about to get going here in a minute. In fact, it's 10 o'clock, 10:30. All right. Should be recording.
Looks like you got your camera working this time.
I did. There's a little bitty switch that you have to basically use a pin side of the laptop. I guess when I took the laptop out of the backpack, it must have cut that switch off. But after rebooting this thing about 9 times, I figured out what the problem was.
He would take you down in his truck. That way, and you put gas in the truck. She told me in the text she'd be fine.
Kind of good. Yep, plenty of folks on here.
If I write it out, what we need to get it.
Good morning, Jason. Nice to see you.
Good morning.
I know, but all I can do is say no. That's right. That's right. No, I can't either.
Okay, that'll be. Everybody's in that wants to be in.
They showed just a very little bit, but it says like 30% chance.
Yeah, that needs to be here.
We're missing Bruce. Before we get started, Ken, I see you're on here and I'm going to ask you during the meeting to talk about smoke detector Saturday. Y'all bear with us. We're having a little technical difficulty this morning. Still waiting on Bruce.
Holly, this is Carla Stahl. My screen is just scrolling and saying waiting, waiting. I don't know if that's because somebody has to let me in or I don't know, or if it's
You're
on
in-
my end.
You're in.
Okay. Maybe I just can't see it for some reason. Let's see. I might have to go out and come back. Let's see.
And she did.
Madam Mayor, Bruce Turner is in now.
Okay, he is good. He's doing our invocations. I see him. He's coming.
We need to get everything muted.
Yep.
Apologize.
Okay,
No
that
problem.
worked. That worked.
I'm going to mute everyone, so just unmute yourself when you're ready to speak, just to kind of keep your feedback down.
Okay. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started a little late. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but thank you all for participating in this morning's council meeting. Right now we have 23 participants and that's wonderful. So good morning and welcome. And we've got a lot of business to take care of. So I'll start off with Councilman Turner. If you will offer the invocation for us, please. You have to turn on your audio, Bruce.
There we go.
Thank you.
Okay, let us pray. Heavenly Father, we seek your help today. Come and let your wisdom fall upon us, O Lord, as we gather for this meeting. Give us the clarity so that we can effectively tackle each part of today's agenda. Reveal problem areas and show us the best solutions that will apply. Point our eyes to every positive outcome since our last meeting and let these favorable results and developments encourage every heart in this room. Heavenly Father, help us apply your wisdom as we decide on certain matters and make plans. We pray this in Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Bruce. Very timely and wonderful. All right, we're going to start off with our item 3, which is the approval of the minutes. Council, you were presented and sent the minutes of the April 13th and April 20th meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve these minutes as written?
So moved.
Thank you, Tony. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Bruce. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Any opposed? Okay, great. All right, item 4 is the adoption of our agenda. So do I hear a motion to adopt the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Thank you, Bill. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Bruce. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I think that was everybody, so we're moving on. So at our workshop, Jason presented his city manager report, so I'm going to ask him to repeat it again for the people that were not in attendance at our workshop. Take it away, Jason.
Madam Mayor, good morning, council. Good morning, everyone. I did go into great detail. I will briefly go over this. If anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to elaborate. But to dive in, last week we had Daniel Martin with the GMRC, the Georgia Mountain Regional Commission. He came up. This was a follow-up visit to the GMRC leadership who came up late last month. James Holbrooks and Jerry Shope, we provided Daniel with a tour of Sky Valley as well as some of the projects that we're working on. He seemed to be very impressed with some of the things we've got going on. We talked about some grant opportunities, and he has forwarded me some information to some potential grants that we may want to apply for this fall when those grant windows open up. We have also began the process of identifying and creating a multi-year strategic plan. Cody English, who is actually with us here now, one of our employees. Cody recently spent a week in Carrollton, Georgia to get his required 40 hours of classroom training. And he has recently taken and passed the state test to get his Class 3 water certification. This is a pretty rigorous process. It's got a very low pass rate. Cody passed it on the first time. Of course, this is in an effort to bring this in-house. At this time, we are currently contracting out our mandated water testing. And Cody is, we actually got all the paperwork into the state. And late last night, we received an email to say that his license has been approved. And the plan is over the next minimum of 30 days, have him work with the consultant that we're using with the Rabun County Water Authority to kind of have a smooth transition. And also there should be hopefully some cost savings realized with this as well by bringing it in-house and doing away with the consultant. And Cody is here now. I know that some of you wanted to thank him, and I'm going to kind of step away and let him kind of look in if anybody has any questions or would like to say anything.
Congratulations.
Morning, thank you.
It's wonderful, Cody. You went through a lot to help out our city, and we so appreciate all that you went through to get the certification.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
We'll have a parade later.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
This is going to help us in so many ways, and we appreciate it. Truly, we do. We have some wonderful employees that work for us, and you're certainly one of them.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Moving on to my report, Madam Mayor, the renovations to City Hall. If you want to. The renovations to City Hall should begin early next month. The contractor, as you all recall, this was approved in a previous meeting to do the much needed renovations. They have already installed the French drain, which was kind of a priority with the flooding issues we've had here. And they will begin that. That should take about 3 weeks to maybe a month. So hopefully if they begin in early June, they'll be done by around 4th of July. Speaking of other construction projects, we had a follow-up meeting with Lamar Hare. Mr. Hare met with James Holbrooks last year to provide a quote to do the culvert repair on Sky Valley Way. With the ever increasing cost of construction materials, that quote is no longer valid. I was hoping to have his revised quote by the meeting date time here, but we have not received that. We placed a call to Mr. Hare to get a follow-up with that. The plan is to try to get that began and concluded by late summer, early fall. This will be a major project, and we are trying to do our due diligence with that. We have began taking inventory of city-owned properties. The city does own several properties that are currently not on the tax rolls. We are also receiving quotes for the cost to clear the right-of-way down below where Evergreen meets Sheep Cliff. That's where the pavement ends. This is an effort to create the southern entrance into the city. We have received one quote from Ellenberg Tree. Hope to be receiving one, if not two more, and bringing that to you all shortly. The salt brine truck that you all approved last month, it is at Franklin Machine Shop. We're hoping to have that back this week. As you may recall, the bed had rusted out. It's used for the salt, which is very corrosive. The bed was literally about to fall off. And once we receive the truck with the new bed, James and his guys are going to spray that with a bed liner to hopefully reduce the corrosiveness nature in the future. And then finally, Clegg Jarvis, our contract finance officer, accountant. He's pretty much hit the ground running. He's kind of taken the reins where Barbara left off. He's been very busy. There's been several months of account reconciliation going back to last year that had never been done. And we've also had initial discussions with Jolie Mixon, the auditor, regarding the upcoming audit. And we've also began having conversations about the 22 budget that we will be beginning here probably this summer. And that will conclude my report. Best to answer any questions if anybody has at this time.
Comments, questions, suggestions? Okay,
I'm going, and
what'd you
I'm
say,
going to provide
Jason?
the police officer's report, Madam Mayor.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir.
Number 6, Chief Estes and his guys are out doing their mandated firearm certification today. Just so happened it conflicted with the schedule. He asked me to talk about a couple of things. Number one, bird feeders, as well as Bob Powers, our code enforcement building official. We've had some issues with people leaving trash out in bird feeders. As you all know, there was an animal or bear ordinance that was adopted a couple of years ago. And so please, if you will, make sure that you're not having those nuisances or attraction items out during this time when you're not supposed to. And then finally, I'd like to talk a little bit about plantings in the right of way. Our public works guys, it's that time of year that they're starting to do mowing. We're asking citizens not to plant in the right of way. That is not private property. That is actually city-owned property. And also please do not put signs up in the right of way. If the signs are placed up, they will be removed, and any plants that are put in the right of way, it is the city's discretion to remove those if need be. So just please be aware as you do that. And I've got James Holbrooks here, Madam Mayor, to provide his public report if he has one. And I think y'all wanted to talk about the lighting.
Madam Mayor, I have a question.
Okay,
Define right of way.
Right of way is the roadway that the city maintains and owns. And it's not always clearly marked, but right of way is what the city cuts and maintains.
Okay, do we have any idea of approximately how many feet off of the pavement the right of way extends?
Most of the right of way is probably going to be a minimum of 40 feet. Some may be 50 feet, depending upon the road. You would hope that in a perfect world, the center line of the road is the center line of the right of way, but a kind of a good gauge or measure would be obviously make sure that there are no cars coming if you get in the right of way. But if you measure from the center line and go between 20 feet in one direction or 25 feet for 50 feet, it should give you a good indicator. But most of the time, power lines or water meters, water lines, those typically are going to be in the right of way.
Thank you.
We're mostly talking, Counselor, about plantings that are at the edge of the road, things that have a tendency to grow over and can cause line of sight or even have vehicles. If they grow quickly, we've had issues or complaints of people actually hitting plantings. It is a rarity, but we have seen these things come up, and this is more of a preventative type thing. We're not trying to nitpick with anybody, but if you have plants in the right of way, obviously the further back, but again, I want to stress this is plantings that are being done at the edge of the road or the cartway where the pavement ends.
Great, thank you.
James, did you have any? Madam Mayor, James Holsbrook is here. If you have any questions, he is available, but he's not on the camera at the moment, but he is here present in this meeting.
Jason, do you want to have him just reiterate about the front entrance lights, how it's mitigated?
Okay, yes, I'm gonna let him step around and share the spotlight. Good morning.
Good
Morning.
morning.
As far as the front entrance and everything, we have got a lot of people was saying that they have been too bright. We have dimmed them down. We tried several different things. We used a smoke paint, kind of a black paint. We just kind of smoked over them. Everybody I've talked to now is saying they're great. They're not being blinded. I've been watching them at night and everything as I come up. But everybody seems real pleased with them. I hadn't had any complaints since we've done those. I don't know if any of y'all was able to get out and check any of them at night or anything, but like I said, I hadn't had any negativity on them so far.
I've had several people remark, James, that they are wonderful. So we appreciate all your efforts to figure out how to do what we needed to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody else have any questions or suggestions for our public works? And we certainly appreciate all that you and your guys do, James, every day.
Holly, I do have a question. This is Carla Stahl.
Okay.
James, is it you guys, the city, that is doing the work up here on Red Wolf Trail? Because I noticed that the ditch had been dug out quite substantially, which I'm really grateful for. Was that the city or was, okay, it was, you're nodding your head.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. That was the city. And the reason we're going to come back, but I've got to let it dry out. It's
Right.
it's so wet. And when a ditch gets wet, it's hard to work and get it exactly right.
Right.
But we're waiting on some dry weather, which we have this week. I'm hoping to get up there toward the end of the week and maybe place some rocks down in that ditch.
Mhm.
And that should take care of the water issue and get it draining better.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm really appreciative of that because it was pretty scary to have my driveway full of water for
Yes,
3
ma'am.
or 4 inches. So I do appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
James, I noticed that there's some work has been done up on the top of Knob Drive after the pavement ends. Was that the city?
Yes,
It
sir.
looked
It
like s-
was.
Well, thank you so much, because I think we were in danger of, pretty much losing that improvement that connects up with the hiking trail over to Raven Bald. So, I think you just extended the life of that road substantially. And thank you.
You're more than welcome. And that was all caused by one culvert stopping up, caused all the damage to the road. But it is
Exactly.
taken care of now.
I saw that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I know, James, that you and your guys have been working on some significant water leaks also, and we appreciate your diligence in that area.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody else? Do we have anybody on the chat line, Jason, that's asked any questions of James before we release him from the hot seat?
There was a question, but I believe the question has been answered.
Okay. Thank you, James, and thank everybody that works with us. We
Yes,
have a
ma'am.
fabulous crew, y'all. We are the envy of Rabun County as far as our public works division. And I'm not making that up, Jason. I hear that a lot. And you all can never leave us.
All right. I will let them know that. Thank y'all.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, James. Yes, sir.
All right, our next item on our agenda is our committee reports. I want to once again thank all our community members who are part of our committees. They are integral in us doing anything for the city, and I appreciate everything that you all do. I'm going to start off with Bill. If you could please give us a mayoral advisory committee report.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Mayor. 2 meetings ago, we met and really had a desire to make a recommendation to you, Mayor, and the council in terms of what some of the basic priorities should be for a 5-year strategic plan. Really with the eye on, where do we want to be 5 years from now? Because we know that we need to get that, really kind of locked down. It's been in several different forms, but we wanted to make it a little more succinct so that we made sure that we measured all of our decisions going forward, so that we continue to move towards where we want to be when we grow up in 5 years, basically. So we took the property owners survey that we did last year, and we compared that to the joint comprehensive plan that was developed, the 5-year plan there, and submitted by GMRC. And went through and looked at those, compared those two, for commonality between, kind of what our community desires and what that plan was. And then we prioritized some of those strategic actions. And I think we forwarded that to you, Madam Mayor, and also provided that to Jason, so that we can begin building, a very succinct 5-year strategic plan for our city. So that's underway. Jason, I know, is working on that, and, more to follow. On April 30th, we met via Zoom with Harrison Merrill Jr. Really, the purpose there was to hear Harrison's ideas and vision for what they want to do potentially with their land here in Sky Valley, and to give the committee and others who attended that committee meeting an opportunity to ask questions and to understand kind of where their head was at from a development standpoint. It was a good exchange. And really what came out of that were the next steps, and to decide what the appropriate direction is for us. The first step was to consider a professional feasibility study to suggest some viable options that would fit with our residential community. And we wanted to be clear with Mr. Merrill that, we're real happy with where we are as a residential / golf community. And we wanted to make sure that if anything were to happen, it would have to be accretive to that. In other words, it needs to be a good fit, not disruptive. And so overall, it was a good meeting. And out of that, came the recommendation that we might want to consider a feasibility study from a professional company to see what would be viable. And one of the interesting, when this first started over a year ago, skiing was their desire. And that was really designed to be a winter demand generator, so that they could sell other parts of their development, i.e. condos. And their vision was to have some sort of horizontal hotel, in other words, cottages, etc. But it was also came out of there that may not be a must. I mean, really what they're looking for was some sort of activity or attraction that would create some demand in the winter season here, which would be critical to, for any commercial development, which kind of takes a back seat to, the desire to potentially have some other single family homes and or condominiums put on their land. So that's where we are right now. And some discussions are underway with some various entities here in the city to decide whether we want to move forward and at least do a feasibility study. If we do, the recommendation from the committee is we want to have input into the scope of that study, because we want to make sure that we're looking at it from a more comprehensive standpoint than just the particular type of development. And that's also a tool that we will potentially need to have as we apply for future grants and other funding sources. We need to be able to show feasibility and potentially an economic impact study to go along with that, so that we would qualify for any significant grants that we might want to go get. And so that's where we are to date.
Bill, could you talk a little bit about Tim Darragh on the Water Authority and also his looking into internet improvements?
Yeah, Tim, that's other things that we had worked on as a committee, and Tim really took the lead on that. He's our representative on the Raven County Sewer and Water Authority. Had been working with them, looking for potential grants and opportunities. And, you know, talking with those folks as to whether or not some prepackaged septic systems would work for some development here, et cetera, et cetera. You know, he's been really involved there and has gotten some good information back to us. Nothing that's actionable at this point. He also has done a really good job trying to not only expand internet, but improve the speeds that we get here. And recently he found out from True Vista, I believe it was, has gained some federal money through the state to expand into rural areas. He's been working diligently with those guys to get Sky Valley on that list of where they want to expand. As of last report, I guess about a week ago, he was following up with them. I have not heard back as to status now, but if that's the case, we could expect some more expansion and some higher speeds based on what we know today.
Fantastic. Thank you, Bill. I didn't mean to throw that curve at you, but you did great. Anybody have any comments or questions for Bill? Great. All right, we're going to move on to our next committee report, and that is our marketing committee. And I see Mr. O'Keefe's bright and cheery faces here. Take it away, Bob.
Thank you for the compliment, Holly. I tend to think you over-exaggerated that, but I appreciate it. All right, try to give you a brief update of where we are and what we've been doing. First, that's most important to us and is on your agenda for the day is to rehire, so to speak, Doug Hollinsworth of Golf Life Marketing. We contracted with Doug for the 2020/2021 year. We signed a contract with him, but we only pay him on a monthly basis, which is $750. And for what he provides to us, he's a consultant. He attends all of our meetings. He's made many trips up here. A lot of the things that you've seen happen over the course of the last year were through his endeavors, including having real estate people come up, golf writers come up. Just recently, we had Jamie Darragh on a syndicated radio show interview about Sky Valley. And the Madam Mayor actually emailed that out for anybody that could just link onto it. And I'm hopeful that we'll get it on our website here sometime soon. On a monthly basis, he does, as I said, attend our meetings. He does send out an email to us, at least the committee, which we could make available at any time to anybody, of what he has done that particular month. Usually involves an email blast, meaning a promotional type social media communication that varies from between a minimum of 50,000 addressees to sometimes 200,000. And in addition, he will report on some of the things that he's done as far as, for example, last month, he had a golf article in Ohio Golf Journal. He's got a lot of connections around the country. Now you're saying, why Ohio Golf Journal? Well, we actually get a lot of people coming to Sky Valley on their own pre-planned golf trips, and we're trying to build that. Now, naturally, he focuses on the Southeast, people that are with driving distance, but we're getting, if not a national exposure, we're getting some large regional exposure. He also it's going to be coming up in June. He has contacts at the Sugarloaf Professional Golf Tournament in June. And with his contacts, we were able to provide, or are in the midst of providing, a goodie bag to the 80 golfers that are in the tournament, which includes gifts, if you will, from us, a map that we have actually an ad in, a brochure of the country club, golf tees, golf balls, golf pencils, and so on, a little goodie bag. We all know that most of us have gone to conventions. We always like to come back with a little something. And like we sometimes go to a dentist and buy it. He gives us a toothbrush with his identification on it. That's what we're trying to do. And because this is at Sugarloaf Country Club down in, I think it's still in Gwinnett County. I haven't lived there in a while, but I think it's in Gwinnett. I don't think they've moved it, so I think it's still in Gwinnett County. So we implore you, it should hopefully be a done deal because of all that he does for us at a very reasonable price. And we actually talked about this at my update to the council in November. Recently found out that we probably needed to vote on it, even though we're not cutting a large check because it's contractual. It holds us all accountable to it. Couple things we're working on to again broaden our scope is we have been working on for a couple of months what we're calling the stay and play package. Stay and play means we want to be able to promote staying and playing in Sky Valley. Now we have a committee, some of our committee members, which includes some of the city council members. And there's some ad hoc members. Carla is one, and Bill Thies is one, who's a property owner here. And what we're trying to do is offer opportunities, specific opportunities. Here's the places that you can stay, and here's what they're willing to do for you. We've asked that anybody that's participating do something of a promotional nature. It could be, 10% off the rack rate. It could be, a muffin with, when you go off to play golf, or something in the stay of the home. That has not all been put to bed. We're going to try to pick the best of the bunch. We're obviously not going to be able to have hundreds of that. But Doug has people that could be able to answer phones, respond to people, and get more people staying here to play. Whether they play golf, that'd be great. But if they do other things, that's awesome as well. And we think that's a way to, again, promote and reach out to our target markets. And they've also reached out to people like Julep Farms and the Dillard House, the Gateway Inn, some of the local restaurants. Again, Doug usually tries to incorporate cross merchandising where we're actually working with other entities to promote us and them as well. It's not always just a blank, hey, here's Sky Valley, but it's like, come stay at the Dillard House while you're in Sky Valley. And those are usually inexpensive ways to promote. Additionally, as part of our membership as a city with Forward Rabun, in addition to the meetings that Madam Mayor attends, she's asked me to attend their monthly Forward Rabun marketing meetings, which I've been doing. Missed the last one because of technical difficulties, but we've even had some of those today. But it's interesting because there are members of Clayton and Dillard and the community market that's down there, as well as the marketing and travel coordinator, consultant director from Rabun County. And we've had some input. We get a lot of things put before us and say, hey, is this the thing we want to spend our money on? Because they're actually spending, part of what they're spending is our money. It's the money that we turn over to them as part of our hotel and motel tax money. And in addition to being part of the benefit of the overall, they're interested in some of the things that we're doing. They love the fact that we have a webcam. We haven't yet shared with them the ability for them to connect, but be it it's already done, it's a done deal. We've got it till the camera stops working, which is supposed to be 10 to 12 years. We'll probably take a vote on it this coming next week, Thursday at our meeting, that we can make that available to other people, because if people can look at Rabun County and say, oh, and not only is it Rabun County, but here's a beautiful place. And if you looked at it anytime recently, the trees are out, some of the flowers are out. As a matter of fact, we postponed the radio interview that Jamie Darrett did for us from about a month, 6 weeks ago, because the webcam was kind of dead looking. It looked like winter, and now it doesn't look like winter anymore. So we want to have a beautiful, pretty place that people can look. And I think the Ford Raven people would love to be part of that. Another thing that you folks were able to approve the last time we had a meeting, or last time I attended your meeting, was that we approved the hiring of Dinberg Photography. We've been working at that since November of last year. Got the bids needed or attempted to get bids for those that wanted to make them. And they've already been up here to meet with Jason. They're setting up a library, for lack of a better word, that all of our entities as part of the marketing committee, the city, the country club, and the POA will have access to updated, highly clear, and I'm not using technical terms because I'm a technical Neanderthal, but I think you get the point. We have experts doing what we do not know how to do or cannot do well. And we will soon have a library of photographs, and you'll even notice on our own city website, some of those photos are so old that the trees that are now 40 feet tall at the pool look like shrubs. So they are pretty old. And as part of that, he's doing drone footage. And as part of the final package, we're going to have a 2-minute promotional video and 2 30-second promotional videos, which when they're produced are things that we could use on some of the type of promotions that we've had in recent history, which is when WSB, they came up and did an interview with Roy at the club and took some of their own footage. Well, we're going to have stuff that's like readily available that we could promote and put up literally at a moment's notice. And the plan is for Steve Dinberg to come up at least 4 times during the different seasons, take the necessary photographs, and so on and so forth. So that's been moving quite a bit. We're real excited about that. Okay. We talked about 4th of July activities, but Madam Mayor has put together her own committee with some of our marketing committee members to have exciting opportunities for the 4th of July. So I appreciate her establishing a committee that kind of takes it off the burden of the 6 or 7 people that are technically marketing committee members. We have a lot of people sitting in, but there's only 2 from each of the city, the club, and the POA that, and I guess myself, that are official members of that. One of the things we did try to do unsuccessfully, so I'll share some of the not disasters, but things that were unsuccessful. We thought about trying to get some food trucks up here for 4th of July and 3rd of July. And due to COVID, there was a great demand for them. So I contacted 15 different food trucks trying to get them up here for maybe, you know, an ice cream truck for the night of the July 3rd and a couple of things July 4th that wouldn't conflict with Sid Weber, but they were all booked way out. So if we're going to do it for next year or some other thing, we have to book way, way, way in advance. So we learn by doing. So that's one of those things. And a couple of print things that are happening. I mentioned these, you know, quite a long time ago, but they're finally happening. The 2021 North Georgia Travel Mountain Guide map is actually available to us. When I say available, there are copies at City Hall for free. You can go down and get them. We put a double-sized business card ad in it right next to the location of Sky Valley on the map. And we have 2 of the North Georgia outdoor guides that are digest-sized magazines. But we're having a full page ad in the spring/summer, which will be coming soon in the month of June, and then we're going to do it again in the fall. And we did that last year, and we felt like we got some good recognition. And we have a phrase that we like to use in the marketing committee that Jamie, Dara, and I coined together, which is we want it to be impressive and inexpensive. So we're very cognizant of what we have. We want to try to get the most bang for your buck, as they say. And we won't be doing as much print advertising as we did last year, although we will do the Mountain Traveler magazine again in the summer and the Mountain Traveler in the fall, because of their distribution is hundreds of thousands, particularly in the Atlanta metro area, which we're going to get a lot of day trippers as well as people that could, buy a vacation home and come visit. Not everybody can, come up from Florida, take an 8 or 9 hour drive to come up here for a weekend. And let me see if there's anything else. I'm going to reach out to the Georgia Department of Industry, Travel, and Tourism to see if there's anything that we could do with them. I would say, I said this was going to be brief. My wife tells me that I tend to have a talent for making short stories long instead of long stories short. So I'll leave it at that. Please feel welcome to attend our marketing meeting next Thursday, right here, same bat channel at 10 o'clock. And that is it.
Thank you, Bob. That was very comprehensive, and your committee's doing a fabulous job. Anybody with comments or questions for Mr. O'Keefe?
Holly, just to say to Bob, thank you for your leadership, your direction, your firm hand, and your sanity.
Thanks, Jim. I question my sanity from time to time. But thank you, and I appreciate all the efforts you've made. And Jim is great. I want to give kudos to him because he readily volunteers for things, and he's great at doing research. And he will look into things and come up with ideas. And so I appreciate everybody. I think on our committee has the strength, and I think that certainly is one of Jim's strengths.
Thank you, Bob.
So
I
I
know
appreciate
Bill, you had made a comment in reference to Doug Hollingsworth's effort at the workshop. If you don't mind repeating that now for our other people here that are here at the meeting.
Sure. As you heard from Bob, Doug's efforts have been pretty extraordinary, and the amount of reach that he's been able to accomplish really is exceptional. And if we had to do that ourselves, knowing what we know and not having the abilities that he has and the contacts and the channels that he operates in, we would have had to spend a huge amount of money, with ads and all that stuff. And this is exactly what we talked about a couple of years ago, was there are some really pretty efficient ways to do electronic marketing and reach very specific, targets, which he has done exceptionally well. So, I really, thank Bob for managing that, and I really support, continuing with Doug. The other thing, the other comment I had is, as this base of marketing is really electronic marketing specifically, plus some of the events and the familiarization tours that Doug is driving up here, which is great. Things like the billboard down the thing, we probably ought to look at that and consider, is that money well spent there or better allocated to something else? So, it's a good situation to be in when we have a talented individual driving a lot of exposure for Sky Valley. We're able to make some decisions and maybe get a little more effective with our dollars.
I agree.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to landscaping. Miss Dalhouse. I think you're on, girl.
All right. There we go. If you have gone in or out of Sky Valley recently, you have seen that Mark Wanamaker has put in some colorful annuals underneath the flagpole as you first come in, and also on either side of the entrance. He has moved around some daylilies at the post office, and he has put out mulch, some pine needles, and trimmed up shrubs. at the visitor center, welcome center on 246, and at each of the street entrances on 246 and Bald Mountain. He also cleaned up and planted some perennials and shrubs in front of the sign at the Sky Valley sign across from Winding Ridge.
Mhm.
He's not done yet, but it's a lot that has happened just in the last 2 to 3 weeks. And he'll be putting in more plants around the entrance and at the post office. So bear with us. The plants are small right now, but they're going to grow. The Garden Club has also put in a bunch of pollinator plants around the country club. And Mark has put in a pollinator garden at the entrance, the island just below the entrance wall when you come in. We're planting, just a group of volunteers is planting at the golf course. We're also putting in perennials and native plants that will feed pollinators and birds. So that's a very quick report to balance Bob O'Keefe's quick report. And that's all I have to say.
Debbie, I also want everyone to know, if they don't already, that how much the city appreciates the extra donations from the Garden Club and also from the Property Owners Association for additional landscaping endeavors. And we appreciate all your efforts to make us look beautiful.
Well, thank you to the POA and the Garden Club.
Yes.
We put a cap on how much that would cost, and they agreed to split the cost after all the plants are in. The city has a contract with Mark to do all the maintenance, the trimming and the weeding and mulching for the public properties. So the additional cost will be for plants that are added.
Thank you
And
so much. And
you're
it's going to
most
look
welcome.
beautiful, and I'm excited, and I'm sure that our professional photographer will get great pictures. I'm also excited that we got to include the other exits and entrances to Sky Valley in Mark Wanamaker's plan. So it's going to look great. Thank you.
Yes.
Any
You're
questions or
welcome.
comments for Debbie?
Yeah, Debbie, I just wanted to thank you for what you've done to take off my hands some of the stuff that was highlighted when this council first came on, and run with it. And one of the first things you did last year was begin the landscaping at LaBelle and
Driver Lane.
Driver Lane, or there in the Big Rock on LaBelle.
And
Right.
Ridgepole, yeah.
And Ridgepole.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to let you know that the Stelladoras are very identifiable now. And let me know when it's convenient for you and whomever you're going to need to get those Coosa dogwoods. And maybe accent and augment that area with the Big Rock.
Thank you for the donation, Bruce. The Coosas, Mark is going to put by the right side entrance at the post office, and the Stelladoras are going to the Big Rock where LaBelle and Ridgepole come together, and that is on his to-do list. All the rain we had earlier put him a little behind, but it's definitely on his list, and he did get the sign done that you wanted.
Yeah, he
So,
sent pictures. And,
Yes.
and thank you again. And thank you, Ed Morley, for helping facilitate that as well.
yes, and just so you understand, our philosophy is make it idiot-proof. We want easy to maintain plants, perennials. The Floridians want their pop of color at the the front entrance. So we do put some annuals there in front of the flagpole. Everything else, we are trying to go native and perennial so that it will be a one-time cost to install.
And the Garden Club, or I urge anyone else, if they see any other common areas, which, I refer to common area as the area at Ridge Pole and LaBelle, where it's kind of an iconic area with the rock, any areas that the city through the landscaping committee can dress up and beautify our town.
Thank you, Bruce.
Yes.
And thank you, Bruce. And Debbie, maybe your part of the motto should go with Bob's, and we'll just put idiot proof in with his other motto also.
That works. Yes.
That works.
It's my guide for life. Make it idiot proof.
Also, would you mention the tree signs that you and the Garden Club are working on?
Yes, we installed a big sign at the waterfall with a map and identified the native trees along the waterfall trail, put in numbers in front of the trees, and we put names, common name and botanical name, plaques on the trees themselves to let people know what we have here. It is a wonderland of native plants. Unfortunately, some people really liked our tree numbers and they stole 3 of them. But the Garden Club has replaced the numbers, and now I just need to get them installed in the ground. So I might be checking with Morley Construction and Company for an easy way to put cement into the ground along the waterfall trail to hold those signs so nobody walks off with them again.
Did
Or
you
you
hear
could
that,
just-
Morley
or you could-
Construction?
Could just booby trap them.
I'm thinking
I like that.
a bear trap and catch their grubby little hands when they try to grab it. So yes, I have, we have the signs. James Holbrooks has said he's just up to his ears and can't get to them anytime soon. So I will be looking for ways to cement them into the ground.
Thank you, Debbie. Any comments or questions of Debbie?
Tim McClelland has a question.
Okay.
It's in the chat and he hasn't said what his question is.
Tim, you could just type it in.
Or not.
And Tim unmute himself?
All right, Tim.
There we go. There we go. Is it-
There we
can you
go.
hear me now?
Go ahead.
Hey, I was just curious. We love the Mud Creek Trail and hike it almost every day. And I don't know what the plans are, but you're probably aware of, the erosion problems there with all that water that runs down to that turnaround and everything. I was just curious, are there any plans to in the future here to address that and try to fix that? And also on the trail as you come down from the falls, there's a big rut down there that's can be kind of dangerous for some people walking down it because of the erosion. I was just curious where that might be on the public works plan or any other plans to kind of address those 2 issues.
Holly, I'll speak to that shortly.
Sure.
And I think Ed Morley can probably
Okay.
expand on it as well.
Right.
It is beyond the scope of the landscaping committee.
Oh, okay.
All
I
right.
figured it was, but since you had brought it up about the Mud Creek Trail, I asked, so thank you.
Yes, Tim, thank you. Those are good observations.
Tim, we will address those in just a few minutes. Thank
Great.
you for the question.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Bruce. You're up with special projects.
Thank you, Holly. First of all, I just want to expand a little bit on the front entrance lighting. What we had done is identified 15, maybe 20 of the lights that were right along Mud Creek or Bald Mountain Road or lights that some people on Big Bear, they could see from their house. So we did not dim all the lights. So the 10, 15, 20 of them seem to have done the trick. And if anybody's come into Sky Valley in the fog, which if you spend any time in Sky Valley, you know we have a lot of fog events. You will appreciate the brightness coming in. So hopefully we've remedied that situation and we can turn the page on that. Second of all, I'd like to set up another city cleanup either this week or next week. Next week's going to be a little bit warmer, but we're starting to see accumulation of trash from the front entrance. The last one we did a month or so ago, we went from the front entrance down to the visitor center. And unfortunately, it seems to fill up quickly, but I'd like to get some volunteers together to get that cleaned up before our Memorial Day and our folks from Florida and other areas come back. On the Mud Creek Trail, we've been looking at that. We've had an engineer, Bob Sprecher, look at it and kind of give us some guidance. First of all, at the trailhead, we may need to put a culvert there and maybe redo some of the asphalt there so that we can direct that water coming down that Mud Creek or Tahoe to divert that into the creek to mitigate the erosion at the trailhead. So those are some things we're working on. Some of the things we're going to need to probably subcontract, and we're going to be looking at costing of what that's going to involve. The second phase that primarily is down further on the trail behind the sign on 246. There's considerable amount of erosion there, and we believe we've identified the area where a lot of that water is coming off 246, and we're going to look at some solutions to divert it there again back over into Mud Creek. And those are the two serious areas where we're getting erosion. But yeah, we are looking at that. We're going to try to do it with city workers and some citizen workers. And Ed may have some further information on that. Ed, is there anything that you can identify that we're pursuing there?
Your audio's not on, Ed. Ed, your audio's not on.
How is
There
it
you go.
now?
There, that's good.
Great,
Thanks.
thank you.
I guess the latest information is a result of meeting with Jason the other day that the Public Works Group, they have more than they can handle right now, and they don't have the time to work on the trail. Having said that, James was very helpful in walking the trail with us here recently and put together some estimates of what it would cost in terms of fill to come in and do the work. Our city manager and Holly and I discussed this just yesterday, and Jason is going to try to see if we can find some contractors to help us with some of the heavy work. We need to put in, I think it was 3 culverts we identified would need to be put in, plus the road work that you talked about up top. There's a lot of ditch work that needs to be done as well. So the problem is very well identified. The POA has offered to contribute to help us with the expense for that. So we'll be letting our citizens know very soon when we will get somebody down there to start working on that.
Thank you, Ed.
Thanks, Ed.
Bruce, you have any more on your report?
Yeah, just a couple other areas. The timeshare is working. If you've noticed over by the post office, their laundry area, they're beginning the maintenance on that, of which our city workers are helping after hours to try to help them because they're extremely shorthanded. We understand that they hired a maintenance person, but they are working towards cleaning up that maintenance area, building, doing the repairs on the building, repainting it, and also working on the park down there to get new sand and whatever repairs they need on any of the sandboxes or areas. So that is ongoing. I know it's happening slow, but everybody in Raven County is recognizing a shortage on help. But we continue to urge them to move forward with that, and we'll keep you up to date on that. And really, the only other thing I have, we mentioned earlier in the earlier meeting is I've had some people come up and ask about the Fall Fest. And last year we didn't have a Fall Fest due to COVID. And to a certain degree, it's inhibited us preparing it for this year. So it looks like it may be next year before we can organize. And like Bob was saying, make the plans way ahead because it's hard to schedule food trucks, et cetera, that we need for those events. Holly, that's all I had. And if you wanted to add to the information on the Fall Fest, that'd be great.
Well, I concur with everything you said, Bruce. There's also the matter of our main culvert repair as you come into Sky Valley. So we're working diligently on that to make the right decision since, you know, we'll all be in the home, hopefully, before it has to be repaired and paid for again. When they do repair that culvert, the roadway is going to be affected. So that would preclude us from having a Fall Fest, of course, if there isn't decent entrance and exit out of Sky Valley. Bruce, thank you for that report. That was wonderful. Anybody else have any questions or suggestions for Bruce? Great. All right. Again, thank you all. The committees are wonderful and working hard, and we couldn't do half of what we do as a council without you all. Let's move on to new business, which is to consider the approval of the new city logo ordinance. As we were working with the marketing committee and the citizens who came up with a united branding effort, and that is in a logo, we found out we had an ordinance that was established previously on our old logo. So we've already had our first reading. So this essentially is the second meeting to approve this logo. Do I have a motion to approve the new city logo ordinance?
So moved.
Thank you, Bill. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Jim. Discussion. I think it's quite nice, nice looking. I like it a lot. All right. Are we ready for the vote? All in favor of approving the new city logo ordinance, signify by saying aye.
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 That sounds like everybody said it, and thank you all very much, and we will get on to that. All right, number
Mayor,
10.
Mayor,
Excuse me. Yes,
I'm going to go
yes.
ahead and leave here and I'll be there at 1 o'clock. Okay.
Okay, we'll let you.
All right. Thank you.
See ya. Bye, Doug. All right. Item 10, consider approval of marketing committee's recommendation of continuing of Doug Hollingworth's golf life marketing contract. Do I have a motion to approve such?
I would like to move that we approve the contract for Doug Hollingsworth.
Thank you, Jim. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Bill. Discussion.
Holly, I would like to abstain from the discussion and the vote on this, and I'm going
Okay.
to leave the meeting now.
Okay, or you can just turn your audio off if you want to stay. Either way is fine, Ed.
All right.
Thank you. All right, any discussion? All right, call for the vote. All in favor of approving the marketing committee's recommendation for this continuation of this contract, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. I think that was everybody. Before we go to other business, which is the public forum, I've asked Ken Sigler, I see he's online, if you want to talk about something that he's offering to Sky Valley from the Scaly Mountain Fire Department. Ken, take it away.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, on June 5th, the State Fire Marshal's Office for North Carolina is offering what's called the Smoke Detector Saturday. And in this program, the fire department will come out to residents within our protection district, which, as you know, we cover both Scaly Mountain, the outlying Georgia areas, and the city of Sky Valley. We're a very unique department, and they've allowed us to actually expand into Georgia to the citizens of outlying Georgia and Sky Valley. But what it entails is fire department coming out to different residents with their permission, obviously, and offering to install smoke detectors, or if they have smoke detectors already in the structure, to test them and go over some other fire safety programs, kitchen safety, and flammable liquid safety. And the whole idea behind it is there were over 600 fire deaths in North Carolina, and that's all I've got records on right now. I know that kind of precludes y'all, but there were over 600 fire deaths last year, and the idea of this is to lower that down to as close to zero as we can get. And smoke detectors are the number one defense, especially at night when people are sleeping in their houses and along those lines. It also during the day will give a early warning to citizens inside the structure that there is a problem inside the structure. And as you know, with fire, time is of the essence, getting us out there and getting us to our job to protect the citizens better. It's totally free. There is absolutely no obligation to anybody within the city of Sky Valley. All I ask is if you find somebody that's interested in it, have them give me a call, either here at the fire station or on my cell phone, and I'll provide the number here in a second, and we'll put together a list. It doesn't have to be on that Saturday. That is just the National Day of Recognizing Smoke Detector Saturday. We do need to compile a list at the end of that day to get to the State Fire Marshal's office, but we can come out anytime prior to that and do our program prior to that Saturday. And all we ask is that you just allow us to come in and take a look at what you have, what you need, and what may be improved. Again, there's absolutely no cost or obligation to anyone within the city. I'm going to send down a typewritten memo here in a little bit so you can get it out on your Sky Valley Times. And so everybody can see it that's not online today, but anybody, including your staff there, is more than able to take advantage of this. All you have to do is either call the fire department, leave a message here if nobody's here, or call my cell phone at 828-200-5732. It's 200-5732. We'll get you on the list. We've got over 30 smoke detectors to be installed. So there's not going to be a shortage. If there is, we'll go out and buy some more, but don't worry about it. But the more we can do this, the safer the community will be, and the better off the fire department can better serve you. So that's about it, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Ken. And you know, we appreciate everything that you all do for us, and we appreciate you including us in this North Carolina endeavor. And we will get that information out to everybody. Anybody have any questions of Ken?
Holly, I've got one quick question.
Okay.
When we first moved in our house here, we bought, I think, 3 or 4 fire extinguishers. They have never been recharged. And, you know, we got them at Home Depot, Is there any recommendation after how many years are they worthless, or can some of these be recharged? Are they disposable?
Bruce, some of them are basically disposable. Most can be recharged, but there is no real date that they go out of service. As long as there's pressure in there and mud daubers haven't plugged up the nozzle and the powder is still powder inside, there's absolutely no reason why they won't work. Down the road here, I did an inspection the other day on a business and found one from 1979 that was still fully operational. But if you want, be more than happy to come out and take a look at it and, make my recommendations. We, the fire department does not put our name on anything. We don't professionally inspect them. We can take a look at them and give you an idea of whether they're still good or not, but we don't put the labels on them. We don't put our signature on them. That would have to be done through a fire extinguisher company. But 99% of the time, I can tell you, within about 30 seconds, whether it's still good or not.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce and Ken. Anybody else? All right.
Ken,
Go ahead.
Excuse me. I had one question, Ken, regarding those fire extinguishers. Wasn't there some of the older Kidde fire extinguishers have bad valves in them and should be replaced?
We get callbacks every once in a while on some of these. And there was one that came out just a while ago, and I think they were all manufactured and sold back in October of last year. And I can look into that real quick, but anything prior to that, I don't have anything on file right now of taking a look at it. If you do have an extinguisher that you are concerned about, you can call the company. They'll want the model number and the serial number off it, and they can tell you there should be a date of manufacture on it also, and they can tell you whether that's part of the recall or not.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank y'all. All right, let's go to other business, which is the public forum, and all comments, if you can let us know if you want to make a comment or have a question, either by typing it into chat. Also, that no formal action can be taken on whatever issue you bring up. So do we have any? Jason, I don't know if we have any on our chat line or not.
I don't see anything at this time, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
Holly, I think Tim McClellan had made a comment earlier about the ruts in the road below the trailhead on Knob Drive. And I think very recently, the city public works crew has been up there with a truck with a blade on it and leveled that out a bit.
Great.
So I discovered that walking the dog the other day.
Okay. That's great. Thank you for that, Jim. I hope that answers Tim's question. Anybody else out in Zoom land? Great. Once again, thank you all for participating in this meeting. We love the more people, the better. Thank you, council. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Karen. Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
I move we adjourn, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Jim. Second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Ed. All in favor? I know that you're not all in favor, are you? No. All in favor, say aye.
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 And council, I will see you soon. Thank you all.